Hello and welcome to another Feature in 5. This time we're joined by Mr. Jeff Hunter. Jeff, how you doing, sir?
Good, Pete. Thank you.
Awesome. So one of the topics I love talking to you about, because you're like a vSAN expert, is data placement and availability. And so we've got some great demos on storagehub.vmware.com. This is one of them. So let's see what happens when you actually make changes to policies and how the placement of your data is distributed throughout a vSAN cluster.
Yeah, perfect. Let's do it. Let's just go right into the demo here. So the first thing we'll do is go into host and clusters. We see we have a lonely little VM down here, VM01. It does have a couple of hard disks attached to it. We're going to select the first one and just give you an idea with the default vSAN policy applied, just what that looks like. And that default policy specifies a failure to tolerate of 1. So in other words, we can afford the loss of a single drive or a host, and the data remains available.
That's a RAID 1, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's mirrored. So you can see here that we have two components, and this is exactly how vSAN accomplishes that. It places those two components, those two mirrors, if you will, on separate hosts. You can see one is on the host that ends in 6.1 here from the IP address and the other on 6.9. So if we lose either one of those hosts, we still have the other component plus this witness component, which is a tiebreaker down here. That allows us to maintain access to that data even if we lose a host or a drive.
I like it. That's pretty straightforward.
All right. Good. So let's go over here and take a look at how we change storage policies. Very simple. You right-click on the VM, you hit storage or VM policies, you hit edit. And here we can see that the hard disk number 1 that we just looked at, also that there's a second hard disk with 300 gig. One thing we can do, which is pretty cool with storage policy-based management, is we can actually get very precise in how we manage what policies are assigned to those VMs right down to the individual hard drive. So in this particular case, if I just wanted to change a policy for hard disk 1, I could do that. Now we're going to keep it simple. We're going to change it for the entire virtual machine and take a look at how that affects component placement.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to switch the storage policy assigned to that entire VM to a RAID 5. So we're going to spread those components across in a RAID 5 configuration, still to tolerate one failure. But what you'll see here once we apply that policy is how that data is placed. So now we can see there are 4 components here. And again,
we're striping now, huh?
Yeah, we're striped across 4 separate hosts. Again, if we lose any one of those drives or hosts, we still have the other 3 in that RAID set there. So no issues as far as making that, or keeping, I should say, that data available.
Okay.
Good. Let's look at another one. So in this case, we'll right-click again, edit the storage policy. This time we're going to specify failures to tolerate equals 2.
Very nice.
We're going back to mirroring. So if you want a higher level of availability so you can protect against the loss of 2 drives, 2 hosts, whatever the case might be, as you might expect, when we look at the placement details here, now we see 3 mirrors. So we can lose 2 hosts and we still have a mirror available. Pretty straightforward, right?
So this is non-disruptive, right? So all of this resynchronization efforts that are happening on the back end, this is not really it's not really noticeable to the administrator, right?
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. We don't have to think about it. vSAN just takes care of placing that data. It happens without disruption. There's no need to reboot. There's no need to storage vMotion, any of that stuff. It just happens in the background. Workloads continue to run with no impact. It really is pretty smooth.
I like it.
Let's take it just a couple more examples here. So we'll do a RAID 6, failures to tolerate equals 2. In this case, we need a minimum of 6 hosts because what's going to happen when we look at the placement details here is we're going to see 6 components now.
Oh, yeah.
Spread across 6 different hosts. Again, we can lose any 2 of those and the data remains available. Good?
That makes perfect sense. I like it.
Let's look at one more. So we'll go to VM policies here. And we will check out FTT equals 3. So 3 hosts in the cluster can be lost, and we still maintain access to that data. And here's what the placement looks like. As you might expect, 4 mirrors.
Oh, yeah.
So vSAN can definitely ramp up its resilience to drive and host failure.
So yeah, you basically pick the level of availability you need, and it's essentially a simple change of a policy, and you're all set.
Yep, and you can do that on a per VM basis, even a per virtual disk basis. So very precise in the way we manage storage with vSAN.
I like it a lot. All right, well, thanks for joining us on this Feature in 5.
Thanks for having me.
This and all other demos around vSAN can be found on storagehub.vmware.com.